Hey guys, SweetBananaGaming here, coach of your Orlando Solgaleo, here with PGBL Season 4 Week 2 Team Builder. In the last battle that we had against the Sylvania Slowbros, it was our first battle. Well, definitely check that out if you haven't already, but we did take home a W for the first week, thanks to our lovely Amelia the Rabombi. But I don't want to give too much away. You probably can guess already. But if you want to see what happened, go ahead and check it out. It was great. The ending, it was cool how it ended. But this week, for week 2, we are up against Rewt and the New Jersey Brobats, our former rivals from PGBL long past. But in this season, he's in our conference now. A little note about his roster over here is that this isn't final because he made a few trades. I believe it's not showing up yet, but we conversed, so he's going to be operating, at least my understanding is we're going to be operating like on his trades. Instead of Florges, Skuntank, and Mega Gyarados, he is going to have Greninja, Tauros, and Mega Scizor. And for Z users, Zygarde is still one of his Z users. His other Z user, instead of being Infernape, is going to be Greninja. Unfortunately, I don't have an update thing to show you, but we'll just leave it as it is. But, alright, so this was an interesting team to prep for. Again, ignore some of the things on there are not accurate. But on surface level, Volcanion actually does some pretty good work here, and I'm going to go over, obviously, each set in a little bit more detail in a moment, but the main thrust of this was Volcanion offensively against a majority, I'd say, of the Pokemon on his team. The main concern that I had was Infernape. Infernape is pretty good all around, can be mixed offense. We're looking through it. If he's physical, I have a good answer for him with Landorus. If not, it's going to cause me some issues. I think he'll probably, if I had to guess, he'll probably be mixed. Because I was talking with Akihiro, who, you know, he helps me a lot with the team building and strategizing, and he had said, it makes more sense against my team for Infernape to be special, and run, like, Blaze Overheat or something. Like, Sash Blaze Overheat was one option. What was it? He has hidden power options, I suppose, if he runs special. But he can do some big damage and bypass the fact that I have 2 Intimidate users. But I would, if I had to guess, I would think he would more than likely be mixed. Maybe physical, but at least mixed, to have that Thunder Punch option for Volcanion, because if he doesn't, if he goes full special for whatever reason, I mean, unless he runs Hidden Power Electric, but I would think he would probably instead run Hidden Power Ice if he does go full special. But if he is not special, then Volcanion does pretty good against. If he's not physical, if he doesn't have Thunder Punch, Volcanion does pretty good against Infernape. So part of me is thinking he might want a little bit of investment in Pack Thunder Punch, but that's the thing. Infernape could kind of do whatever it wants. And I tried to have plans for it either way. I'm going to get into the strategy a little bit later. Basically, webs are going to be strategy, which only one, because again, he doesn't have Mega Gyarados. Only one Pokemon on his team is levitates. So every other Pokemon on his team would be affected by Sticky Web, and that goes for Zygarde as well. And then the other thing was to get Stealth Rock up, if possible, just to, in the event that, let's say, Infernape was sashed, or just to whittle it down. Just a few options to whittle things down. And of course, I should talk a little bit about Zygarde, and Greninja being the other Z user. Zygarde and Greninja are both also threats. Depending on who has the Z Crystal, I'm getting a little bit later about how Tangrowth can mostly handle Greninja with the set that I have. But it depends. If he like runs Z Ice Beam or whatever, that could be an issue, given the fact that like that would hit Lando hard and it would hit Tangrowth hard. But I don't know. I have answers for them. You know, otherwise, a Miltank could be annoying, and I'm gonna get into this. Why I brought Focus Blast, and we're gonna see I brought Hitmontop. He doesn't have Skuntank. He has it's Greninja and Tauros. I'm not so sure about Tauros being too much of an issue. I mean, Tauros kind of runs the same thing as Miltank. doesn't run the same thing, but I mean, offensively, similar answers, because they're both normal types. His only Levitator is Vikavolt, I said that before. Also, he doesn't have Skuntank, he has Mega Scizor, which, under the right circumstances, Volcanion isn't really worried about at all, because I resist both of its stab, can hit me with a Dark-type move, I don't care. But his only Levitator on the whole team... No, I've already talked about that twice, but there is one more reason I want to talk about that. But first, let me talk about his only poison immunity, again, doesn't have Skuntank, is Mega Scizor. And that's where I'm bringing Toxic on Hitmontop, and again, I'll get into that a little bit later. I can basically poison almost anybody for free. Florges is going to be a little bit annoying, admittedly. What else? Okay, so back to he only has one Levitator. That basically means that, I'm going to get into Landorus' set in a moment, but Landorus is mostly free to Earthquake things, and Vikavolt is not likely to necessarily want to switch in on Landorus because I'm running the Rock Slide, and I'm running Rock Slide instead of Stone. Well, you know, I'm getting into the sets already, so let me go into my specific sets here. Let's start with Volcanion. Toyed around with bringing a Choice Scarf this time around, but I decided to go with the Salt Fest again. I realized that last week I brought a modest Volcanion, which ended up being fine. But in this case, I'm not at... Let me look at this one more time. I'm not at as much of a flat-out speed disadvantage. His fastest Pokemon is Infernape at what... Well, Greninja I think is a little bit faster. I forget what it is, but he's got 2 Pokemon, that means, with above base 100 speed. So with everything else, I can be kind of comparable. Again, with webs up, but it's worth putting some speed investment in this case. Whereas before, I was like kind of way out of it when it came to Zeraora. So it was almost like I wanted to do the reverse strategy and not put all my eggs into the speed basket. But anyway, here, I think Timid will be fine. Same moves as last week. Steam Eruption, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb, but Focus Blast on there for Miltank, potentially for Tauros as well. Just so, basically nothing on his team can wall Volcanion. And again, I have to worry about Infernape. Infernape's in it. But if it's physical, I basically have to keep Volcanion in the back, as much as I can, I think. But if Infernape ends up being physical, or special, I'm sorry. If Infernape ends up being more special based, like it has special investment, I will feel much better about Volcanion coming in and wrecking things. If not, I'm gonna just have to never face off against Infernape, unless, if I have webs up, well, let's see. Because Scarf Infernape is a thing. I don't know that he's gonna think he needs it, except to combat webs. But Ribombee and Azelf, I think, are the only 2 Pokemon in my draft that naturally outspeed it. So I don't know that... If I were him, I probably wouldn't see Scarf as all that necessary. But again, if he knows that I plan to bring webs, or if he can guess that I plan to bring webs, he might just... but if webs are up, I believe... No, I don't know if it's enough to outspeed. I'll have to check that again. But... Anyway, the main thing is here, Volcanion with the Assault Vest is pretty bulky. I thought about a couple other items to run on it, but I think Assault Vest gives me some bulk, because what I was missing, other than Tangrowth, which we'll see, which is a real, like, a dedicated wall Pokemon. I have some bulk, but I'm pretty much having to run some offensive bulk in general on my team to kind of compensate for the fact that I don't have anyone super fast other than Ribombee, and I don't have, out of the ones that I wanted to bring, none are super naturally, like, some are naturally bulky, but, you know, they're not dedicated walls. Anyway, I'm kind of getting into a ramble. Basically, this Volcanion set is about the same as it was last week, just Timid instead of Modest, and Focus Blast instead of what I have last time, Earth Power. Just coverage move of choice. And again, Assault Vest, because I'm going to run all offense on it anyway, so I might as well get the bulk, and I don't want to be locked into one move, because, I get the benefits of using a choice item on Pokemon like this, but it kills me so much when a Pokemon has so many coverage options, and then you have to give it a choice item, so I think I prefer this way. I'm a little more comfortable with this, but let's move on, because Landorus is the main, so Volcanion is gonna probably do fine against Infernape if it's more so special, if it's focused on special attacks, if it has more special investment. If it has physical investment, this opens up Landorus to be able to intimidate it. And originally I wanted to do the double dance or whatever it was called, rock polish and swords dance setup. I ended up dropping rock polish for 2 reasons. 1, I really needed stealth rock, that was more important. And 2, if I do, it's not guaranteed I'll have webs up, but if I do get webs up, I won't really need the speed boost against anything. I mean, he still has priority on some Pokemon anyway, to be honest, so boosting my speed might be a wasted endeavor, because with Greninja as well, he has Water Shuriken, which is super effective, of course, and priority. But anyway, Rock Slide for better accuracy, and Swords Dance, because, you know, I don't want to miss a Stone Edge, and if I do, I'll get the chance to boost with Swords Dance, Rock Slide should be fine for damage for most things. Earthquake, again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that only Vikavolt on his team is immune to ground, and everything else will take... Dhelmise will be fine on an Earthquake. Everything else, I believe, should take a reasonable chunk of damage if they switch into an Earthquake. And I got the Groundium Z to do big damage. Basically, once... my theory is he probably won't want to send Vikavolt out against Landorus anyway, because of the threat of Stone Edge, or in my case, I have Rock Slide, a boosted Rock Slide. But definitely once Vigavolt's out of the picture, I can do a Z Earthquake on just about anything. I probably don't want to waste it on Dhelmise, but other than that, if I can get under the right circumstances, Landorus is going to do pretty well. 1v1 versus Infernape, it's going to depend. Infernape's only option for super effective coverage on me is Hidden Power. Like, Hidden Power Ice would be his main thing if he's mixed or special. And in that case, I'd have to concern myself. If webs aren't up, it outspeeds me, and then I have to worry about that. If webs are up, I get at least a free hit on it. And I think an Earthquake is fine to take it out. Even not boosted, an Earthquake would be fine to take it out. So I don't necessarily think he wants to find himself 1v1 with Landorus. And particularly not if he decides to run all physical, then he really has nothing that can hurt Landorus too much. I'm going to intimidate him, and there's no ice physical moves or water physical moves or any super effective physical moves that Infernape gets, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure not. So Landorus, again, if it's physical, it's pretty safe, and if it's more special, Volcanion's a little bit safe. He will probably run mixed, but whatever, one is going to have more investment than the other, so whichever has more investment, I suppose, determines the strategy I'm going to have to go. But anyway, that's the Landorus set. Rock Slide, Earthquake, Swords Dance, Stealth Rock. Jolly, standard offensive set with the Groundium Z. Again, once Vikavolt, if Vikavolt comes, first of all, which I feel like he would want to bring Vikavolt purely for having that one ground immunity. I accidentally muted myself, good thing I caught that. Otherwise, I recorded two Insurgents episodes where I was muted the whole time, and it made me very sad. But anyway, getting on with it, I feel like he would want to bring Vikavolt, because otherwise I can just Earthquake for free, and I mean, Dhelmise is going to take it really well, but other than Dhelmise, nothing wants to take an Earthquake, particularly not a boosted Earthquake or a Groundium Z Earthquake. So if I had to guess, I'd say he'll bring Vikavolt, and I should say, he'll bring Mega Scizor. Mega Scizor can defog, and just gets a bunch of priority. Only has one weakness. It's time for a weakness, but only one weakness. So I think he wants to bring Vikavolt, because, for a ground immunity, to protect Infernape, which I also think he's going to bring, because Infernape has a lot of coverage options, a lot of versatility in the kinds of sets it can use, and Greninja's his fastest, one of his fastest Pokemon. Then I was going to say, he's going to bring Zygarde, and he's going to bring Greninja, and he's going to bring Dhelmise, but then, like, I've gotten to 6 Pokemon, and you know what, honestly, he's probably going to bring Necrozma, because Necrozma's pretty safe as far as, it doesn't take true super effective damage from anything. So he's got all these good offensive options, but if I had to guess, Well, let's see. He might not. I mean, he might bring Greninja for Landorus. He might not bring Greninja because I have Tangrowth and Volcanion. And particularly Volcanion just kind of walls it entirely. So maybe he wouldn't bring Greninja. I feel like he'll probably bring Infernape. Yeah, if I had to say Infernape, Zygarde, I would say Vikavolt for the immunity. Mega Gyarados, and then I have Dhelmise and Necrozma. I don't know, but would he bring Primarina instead? Maybe Primarina instead of Necrozma or Dhelmise, but I feel like he would want Dhelmise as a spin blocker, and Dhelmise gets Rapid Spin as well, right? And also gets 3 stabs. I don't know. For that grass, let's see. Dhelmise would hit... Well, actually, out of the Pokemon that I brought, it would only hit Cloyster for super effective damage, and even then, it would hit offensively, and Cloyster has good defense. I don't know. He would have... I would feel like he would want to bring his spin blocker and a spinner, but he could run Defog on Scizor. He could run... Is there something else? Does Primarina get Defog? He has other Defog options, though, or other hazard removal options. But he might want the spin blocker. I am bringing a spinner this week. I'm bringing 2 potential spinners, but 1 actual spinner. Alright, so not to get too caught off on things, but basically, so I'm not sure who he'll bring. I mean, I feel like Zygarde, Infernape, and probably Mega Scizor are definites. That was the other thing. I was debating whether to bring Mega Tyranitar. I was looking at my move options. Tyranitar really didn't do too much for me here for this team, so that's why I left it off. Alright, but let's move on, because making their debut this week is Cloyster. We're gonna run a fun little Cloyster set that you guys all probably know and love. The Shell Smash White Herb with Ice Shard and Icicle Spear, and I'm running Naive. I mean, I've already got such low special defense, it probably doesn't matter anyway. But I want to run Hidden Power Fire in case I get... What was it for? Not for Dhelmise, for Scizor. In case I get 1v1 on Scizor for some reason. Scizor, assuming full HP, which made me wonder if I should run Focus Sash, but probably not. Because on the physical side, I'm going to live a hit anyway. I think even a super effective hit from most things that are not boosted, I should be able to live. I can wall... I mean, I should be able to wall Mega Scizor just fine. I should be able to, even Dhelmise, I feel like, maybe Adamant Max attack, I might be in trouble. I have to do the calcs on that one. But even then, I don't know if we want to risk it. Anyway, I have some priority to kind of counter his priority moves. Not that he, I mean, priority, if we're both priority, he outspeeds, whatever. But, anyway. Just basically, and the ice is for, Zygarde. I probably need to hold on to Cloyster in the back for a little bit, and face off versus Zygarde. Because, I mean, if it has extreme speed, I tank that pretty well. I have to check how many boosts he can have, where Cloyster can still live. So, but that's the main thing. Cloyster is answer to Zygarde, and pretty much walls Mega Scizor pretty well, as far as it has a naturally really good defensive stat, and that's what I'm talking about here with it. I mean, I'm running full offensive EVs, but I got a little bit of bulk here on my side. Anyway, that's the Cloyster set. It's the debut of Cloyster with Skill Link for Icicle Spear, in case I want to throw that out there. I'm wondering if I need that, but really, the other abilities don't necessarily make sense. I mean, not getting hit by a crit is fine. Maybe I would run Overcoat. Maybe I would run Overcoat if I had Tyranitar with me. But no, this is the set. I was just thinking of what other coverage move I could put, but, you know, Ice Shard and Hidden Power Fire pretty much ensure that I can hit everything except, like, Primarina or Greninja, neither of which I would want to stay in on anyway, since they are special attackers. But yeah, alright, so that's the Cloyster set. We're bringing back last week's MVP, Amelia, with basically the same set, with a little bit of a switch here. Still Timid, still Focus Sash, still Max special attack and speed. But I found out, a little bit of a controversial decision. Well, the non-controversial one so far is, I was talking with Strike Hero about the possibility of Thunder Wave on Miltank to offset, you know, my Sticky Web speed control or whatever. And so, the only cleric on my team is Rabombi with Aromatherapy. So I decided to bring that, and let me just make sure... Yeah, cures the whole party. Alright. No. Yes. No, yes, I'm selecting... Hold on a second. Hold that thought. Alright, there we go. The other thing was, and I'm still not 100% sure about this, but I think it'll be okay. I dropped Quiver Dance for Psychic in this case, because I discovered Rabombi gets Psychic, which I didn't realize. The reason for this being for Infernape. Now, to be fair, when I'm not boosted, Psychic still does not quite one-shot. It does, like, a high roll does, like, about 85%. So let's say about 80% it does. Moonblast does, like, between 60 and 70%. So, not necessarily that much better. However, with Quiver Dance, I'm faster than it anyway. I'm probably... At last game, well, spoilers for last game, but you should really have watched it already. I kind of got lucky to be able to set up on Mega Charizard. I kind of got lucky to be able to set up with Quiver Dance last time, and I won't necessarily, for what Rabombi needs to do, I won't necessarily have that opportunity. I might just need to zap it with something, and I might, like Infernape, for example, I might just need to hit it with something, and, you know, take the go down. So, Psychic does more, and I'm thinking about if this is combined with if rocks go up. If rocks go up, then I can, I was thinking about, if rocks go up, then Psychic can take it out, basically, and Moonblast, not necessarily. So that's the reasoning behind having Psychic. I mean, Moonblast is almost as good, but let's see, Psychic... I mean, I guess you could say maybe I don't need Moonblast, but no, I want Moonblast in case, like, just so I can hit Necrozma a little bit more. Not, again, I don't really need, I probably wouldn't need to hit Necrozma, but Moonblast also hits Zygarde in case I find myself in that situation, in case Amelia feels like slaying some more dragons. But yeah, I mean, it gives me more, it gives me a little bit better coverage. I'm not necessarily counting on Amelia to be a big offensive powerhouse in this game, but hey, she was last time, so you never know. But, it's more of, she's still my most likely lead in this game. I'm not 100% sure, but still my most likely lead. Get the webs out ASAP. If she lives, bring her out later for aromatherapy if needed, or throw out a Psychic or a Moonblast real quick. That's basically the strategy. Alright, also making his Season 4 debut, we have Dreidel, our Hitmontop. I'm running a especially bulky set, again, because I have Intimidate on the physical side. With Rapid Spin, Close Combat, Mach Punch, or Toxic. Alright, so Mach Punch, I was going back and forth between Mach Punch and Fake Out, and they both had their good points because Fake Out basically guarantees free damage. They're both, Delmise is immune to both, but the reason being, so the reason for Mach Punch being, it gives me a little bit more options. It hits Scizor for neutral damage. I mean, that was the main reason as far as coverage goes. I mean, neither attack is made to do a lot of damage. Close Combat is meant to do a lot of damage to Miltank or Tauros, I guess, if either one comes out. And then Toxic is here for a couple reasons. First of all, Toxic is here so that Delmise doesn't necessarily get to switch in for free. Because, of course, I bring out Hitmontop. If he has Hazards up and I bring out Hitmontop, he's going to think, well, he might think I want a Rapid Spin and so bring out a Spin Blocker. So, basically, I have Toxic so that Delmise doesn't get a free switch in. I mean, sure, it's all I can do to Delmise, but at least Delmise has to take some punishment for being sent out on me. And also, really, because again, only Mega Scizor is immune to Toxic, so really anybody else that wants to come out and switch into this is going to get Toxicked and whittled away. So, I mean, that's the main rationale for that. I got almost max HP, max special defense, with just that little bit of extra attack investment, just for a little bit more damage. But yeah, pretty standard. Leftovers, it's my only recovery option. Hitmontop can be fairly bulky, so yeah, that's what we're gonna run there. Now, moving on to the final team member, who I brought last week, and oh yeah, I need to fix that again. I forgot to nickname her, but her name is L'Oreal, so there she is. I will get her nickname this week, but I have to remember to do that because I forgot again when I redid my team. Let's see. Running the exact same set as last time. Basically, other than, I mean, Greninja might bring Ice Beam. Other than that, this wall's Greninja. This wall Zygarde okay, depending on how many boosts he's had. This could wall Zygarde okay. Hidden Power Fire to be against Mega Scizor. Mega Scizor I have to be a little bit more careful about because it can do super effective damage, of course. And it's kind of there. It kind of handles some of his miscellaneous other stuff. It handles Primarina. It goes 1v1 with Delmise, I suppose. Again, I have Hidden Power Fire. I left Rock Tomb on there just for random, you know, just a random opportunity to have more speed control. I mean, I have Hidden Power Fire, so Vikavolt already can't switch him for free. But, you know, I get the Rock Tomb on it, let's say, and I slow it down. That, I mean, it's already pretty slow. I think at that point, because what's my base speed? 50? I already outspeed it, but just in case, I definitely outspeed it. Switches. Well, yeah, because I have no speed investment. So depending on a speed investment, I think I definitely. I have to check. Maybe even at max speed, though, I might outspeed it. I'm just there to slow things down. It is going to be interesting, though. He has a lot of options for. He has a lot of Pokemon that have access to priority that hit pretty hard. So speed control may or may not be a huge issue. It'll be nice, though, because for certain Pokemon that I have, like Landorus, or even well, Tangrowth is not so much. It's not really about Tangrowth in this case. But a lot of Pokemon, a few Pokemon I have, like well, let's take Infernape in particular. Volcanion and Landorus, neither one will take a large chunk of damage from Infernape's priority moves. So if I have webs up, that helps me a lot. If he has to rely on priority, he's gonna have a hard time, and I will take him out. He'll probably want to get chip damage. I mean, he could have fake out, so he could fake out and then other priority attack me. It depends on what his move slot would be, though. Because if I were him, if you want to run mixed, do it fire. I'd run like what? Thunder Punch, Overheat, Fake Out, and Mach Punch. I don't know. Or would I run Fake Out in close combat or Mach Punch in close combat? Because if he expects, he might be expecting me to bring Tyranitar, because Tyranitar. I don't know. I really don't think Tyranitar has much utilization here. But let's say he would have to plan for it. I would think, to have a contingency in case I did bring it. So, I mean, I feel like he'd want to run a strong move. So I don't know that he'll run double priority on Infernape. I could be wrong, but that's my best guess. I don't know that he would run. I don't necessarily know if he has enough move slots to run double priority, depending on what he wants Infernape to do. Because Infernape can also set rocks, do all kinds of crazy things. But anyway, getting back to Tangrowth. Tangrowth is just kind of there to supplement, there to take a hit, Giga Drain, and switch out and regenerate health again. Knock off random things. Give an HP Fire to Mega Scizor. Give an HP Fire or a Rock Tomb to I just said it, Delmise. Not that Rock Tomb's gonna do much to Delmise. Give a Rock Tomb to Vikavolt, I guess, is the bigger thing. Yeah, I mean, that's what she's here for. I'm gonna hopefully get her nickname right this time. But yeah, that's my team. Depending on who he brings, this could go well or not so well. I don't know. Rewt's a good battler. I mean, I assume, I know the others are good battlers as well, but I've fought against Rewt several times, so Rewt's a good battler. I mean, Primarina could be annoying, but again, L'Oreal kind of manages Primarina just fine. Sandslash, L'Oreal handles it. Necrozma and Florges are going to be annoying if either one of them come, or both of them. That is going to give me a hard time. I mean, Volcanion against Florges will do pretty well, given the fact, I mean, it's just that it's a special wall, so Sludge Bomb's not going to do a lot to it, but I mean, I don't necessarily have to worry too much about it destroying me if I got down and it was the last thing left, you know? And also Landorus, even. I need to check again. Maybe I should just check Florges' moveset just to be sure. I mean, he could put Toxic on basically anything on his team. So I might have to rely on Amelia as the cleric there. But Landorus can do some damage. Landorus could set up for free on Florges, I suppose. The other thing he might want to do if he wants to do extra, if he does bring Florges, is do Misty Terrain, so I can't Toxic anything. Or like I had Stun Spore in the last match. I don't know. I don't know if that's enough to base to use a whole move slot on. I don't know, but anyway, this is my team. Like I said, I feel like this could go either way. Again, if I had to guess who he's gonna bring, I feel like Zygarde and Infernape are musts. I don't think... He doesn't have any reason to not bring Mega Scizor. It could do some damage to my team, so I feel like those are the 3 offensive ones. But he could bring Greninja as well, but I don't know, then he's getting a little offensive heavy. But let's say he brought Greninja, then he's got... If I were him, I'd bring Dhelmise and Necrozma. But I don't know, because then I'd feel like I want to bring Vikavolt so that you have 1 ground immunity. But maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe Dhelmise is all he needs, because Dhelmise has good physical defense, can eat an Earthquake pretty easily if it has to. So I don't know, that's the plan. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and show your Orlando Solgaleo pride in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all this PGBL fun stuff. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you next time for more PGBL Season 4, our Week 2 match, your Orlando Solgaleo versus the New Jersey Brobats. I'll see you then.